Hello viewers, welcome to my first experience of multiplayer on Forza Motorsport. Are we going to be jumping back into the world of the shameful rammer? Or will we actually have some decent races? So this was my very first race in the Honda here at Hakone, 7 laps. This is in the beginner league and this is the race that many of you will jump into if you're getting the game on early release. So let's jump in, shall we? Now to add a bit of context to this one, everyone's in the same car and we had a tyre choice to make. I've gone for the soft tyre, which is the quickest tyre, but it might prove to be a fatal error. We shall find out in just a moment. So anyway, into this corner, we're going to go in a bit hard here, make a bit of contact with that guy on the left, and as a result the stewards, they really did not take too kindly to that. 0.5 second penalty, but I am in the lead, so there is that. A little bit later on in the race, really defending my position here, and we make an absolute mess of that. We understeer, oversteer, do everything. We're wide, and we have rescinded the lead down into second, now down into third. The magician goes through, and it's a close race, it must be said. I think these other guys have gone for the medium tyre, and so I should be doing better on the soft tyre, on the faster tyre. I should be in the lead, I should be pulling away ideally. That quite simply is just not happening. As we head into turn 1 here, we've got this guy coming back. We're going to perform the double old switcheroo there, and that might be the first recorded case of it. Absolutely incredible scenes. A little bit later on, this is lap number 3. Bumping into the back of this guy, I didn't quite judge the front end of my car, but we're going to go up the inside anyway and retake the lead. The crowd go absolutely ballistic at this incredible scene here. He's fighting back at me. I'm going to try and run him narrow and go around the outside. Is it going to work? Not quite. Door banging side to side is good touring car racing. But I'm back into second as we head through the final corner of lap number 3. 4 laps remaining in this one. Back into the slipstream. I'm going to go aggressive. That's my strategy here. Get into the lead. Really annoy these guys as much as possible. Back into first place. Is it going to happen? Yes, it is. On the curb. It's a little bit awkward. Having to make sure that we don't go into the side of him. I think there might have been a tiny bit of contact there. So that guy does not have a penalty. The 2 guys in 3rd and 4th, they do. Actually, at this point he does have a penalty. He's got a 0.3 second penalty, so we've all got a penalty. But by lap number 5 I was worried, because as he performs the old switcheroo on me and I actually retake him, my tyres were really beginning to go off by this point, and he performs another switcheroo. Crofty in the commentary box cannot control himself with the amount of old switcheroos going on here. And take a look at that, my front tyres are beginning to die of death, and that is fortunately going to mean that this race is pretty much over for me, and any hope I had of victory is being swept away very quickly as I really drop very quickly down to 4th. And so the soft tyre definitely proving to be the incorrect choice here, and as you can see, it's telling me to pit this lap. Severe tyre wear. The tyres do drop off very quickly. Obviously I ignored that advice and just carried on, eventually finishing in a very sad and lonely 5th place, well off the pace with my dead tyres, and there it was. Now on the podium, the magician here performing a nice little act for us. There he goes, disappearing into the shadow realm, dipping on the podium and leaving him hanging. But in the next race you can see it was a bit more populated. By this point a few more people had the game, and so I was looking forward to this. Qualifying here, setting a 105.7. Was that good? I don't know. Well, it was good enough for 4th on the grid in this one. So taking a look at this, you see most people on the medium tyre, which was clearly the tyre to be on. This guy making the incorrect call to go on the soft with 55 laps of fuel in a 7 lap race. And then there was I with 7 laps of fuel on the medium tyre, which I think was the correct decisions. So the boys back at the Honda factory really working on their strategy and getting it right this time around. So 4th on the grid, let's go again. Time for some redemption here. We've got the correct tyres on, we've got the right amount of fuel, and we've done a bit more practice. And there's a few more people in the lobby, so we could have a nice close race. I think this would be the first proper test of what Forza Motorsport is going to be like. Of course, I will keep playing, and I will continue to play online as more and more people get the game around the world. This is still early release, of course, and so not everyone has it just yet. So it could still get quite messy a little bit more into the future. Now, here, it really did get messy. Up the inside, bit of contact, and history is about to repeat itself. A 0.5 second penalty, and well, I am in the lead, so there is that. Now it's a simple case of defending like a lion for the next 6 laps. Easier said than done though, of course. So through the final corner, my main strategy was just to really stay in the lead, which is kind of obvious really, isn't it? Crossing the line, I'm going to defend to the right hand side, push these 2 guys to the left, and really make sure that we don't get old switcherooed here, really dominating the corner, running them wide. But they are going to sweep back on the exit, and the old switcheroo is OP in this game, it's quite clear, especially on this Hakone circuit, very long corners, and so the possibility of being or doing a switcheroo is so high, it is really quite ridiculous. Now, I set up my car to have a bit more top end speed, and as you can see, it was really actually proven to be quite useful. As we go into the corner, looks like GP Misco going a little bit deep, and Taikyu trying to come back at me, but we're going to try and run him narrow here. Going around the outside, it's not quite going to work, and have a bit of an oversteer moment, and as the car corrects, we're going to drop a handful of positions down into 5th, and that just shows you just how close this race was. As this guy, whoa, actually goes for the low downforce setup on the exit of the corner there. Now it just shows you with spec cars, so everyone in the same car, you can tune the car to be fair, but everyone in the same car, it kind of really does provide for some very close racing. And you know what, I'm really looking forward to how Forza Motorsport multiplayer pans out with the way that they formatted this time around, a little bit different. So there is certainly less freedom compared to previous iterations of Forza Motorsport, in the sense that you can't just bring your A-class car, whatever car it was, to the hopper. Well, I mean, there will be some hoppers like that, but it's not the same as it used to be. But I'm enjoying this type of racing so far. We will jump into some other hoppers, of course, and of course get yourself subscribed for all the content to come, because I'm sure there will be much of it. Anyway, back to the race. Sitting here in a tidy 4th position after Misco went wide, and suddenly, what on earth went on there? 2 guys in the lead, wiping each other out. I'm not sure what happened there, but it looked like he almost wanted to turn into the pit lane, or just didn't want to turn at all, or his controller died, or he had a moment of red mist and decided to murder his opponent and his own race. So, I mean, answers in the comments, you tell me what happened there, I don't know. But what it means is suddenly this 5-car battle is a 3-car battle for the race lead, and I'm in 2nd all of a sudden. Now here, this guy's going to go defensive. I've got some good top end and a bit of slipstream. I think the slipstream is actually quite powerful in this game. It does definitely make more of an effect than I think it did in previous games, so definitely make the most of it. And my main job now is to try to pull away. I've got a 0.5 second penalty, so I do need to get that gap up. Currently it is 0.5, or flickering to 0.4, and so I've got a little bit of work to do. Try to pull away, get out of the slipstream range of these guys behind, and try to consolidate this first place. I'm in the right position. Can I now capitalise on it? Try to pull away. That is the main job. Slowly over the course of this lap, I was gently pulling away, and I think the guys in 2nd and 3rd were more concerned about each other than they were with me, and I began to just edge clear. Now you can see the front tyres beginning to die, but was nowhere near as bad as it was in the first race. So the medium was definitely the right call. In terms of the fuel, the Honda boys once again calculated it to perfection, and we came home with quite a clinical victory there. The crowd went absolutely ballistic. They've never seen anything like this before, as we bring home a fantastic win. No disappearing acts on the podium this time around, but a pleasing first victory there. We're going to move to race number 2. This is Laguna Seca, And this is a very interesting configuration, as that guy looks like he went backwards on the start, engaging reverse gear, which is a really suboptimal strategy on race starts, I must say. As we head down towards turn 1, it's going to be a slightly different turn 1 compared to the one we're used to. And all of my years of playing Laguna Seca in all the racing games, dating back to Gran Turismo 1 back in the 90s, I've never played this version of it. Apparently it is very similar or very close to the original layout of Laguna Seca. But yeah, it's quite interesting to play it. Something a bit different, a bit more of an oval kind of configuration, if you like, with a corkscrew thrown in there for good measure. So we're sitting here in 4th. I decided to not qualify for this one, starting at the back and seeing what I could do from here. And once again, it looks like it's going to pan out to be a closely fought race, which was really enjoyable. I really did actually enjoy the multiplayer here. And people are probably wondering why I'm playing in chase cam. It's because I'm on a controller. I actually really enjoy this game on a controller. I think it actually makes for a good experience. I will try it on a wheel as well. So through the final corner, nipping underneath this guy for 3rd place as we cross the line, and then trying to catch up with the top 2. That was my main objective. Taking a nice line here through the left-hander and pulling closer, 0.8 seconds off the lead, and he actually has a penalty. Up the inside, I didn't really want to go for this move here, but he took a really wide line. We make awkward contacts middle of the apex on the corkscrew, and it really screws me up, actually, losing that position once again. So having all the work to do once more, as this guy goes a little bit wide. Are we gonna be able to capitalize here? Not quite. I decide to back out. Not a good move to really dive up the inside of that corner. Very fast corner, flat out in these cars, in fact. And then into this one, the leader's going to throw it off into the sand. The sand realm has been visited for the first time in Forza Motorsport. We have our first victim, ladies and gentlemen, into the corkscrew once again. And this guy was taking a really weird entry line, really wide, and it kind of invited me to go in, but I didn't want to do that same mistake. Eventually he made this mistake, just drifting a little bit wide and not carrying much speed through the first corner, so he managed to nip up the inside on the exit and move up into P2. So my main job now, of course, was to try to catch up with 1st place, which was no mean feat, because this guy was actually genuinely very quick and I couldn't do much about it. So he was actually very fast on the final lap here. I did take a couple of very nice corners and actually began to gain quite quickly, and so it was a bit of regret here. I couldn't have just done this a bit earlier in the race and just driven a bit quicker. I mean, that is always a good piece of advice, really, just to drive quicker. I do find that when I drive quicker, I get better results. On this occasion, it's going to be a 2nd place, not quite the 1st we were looking for, but I will take P2. We move into the 3rd race, and this one was really good. There's only 5 of us in the lobby, but that does not take away from how good of a battle this one was. On pole position, we have Dantastic, and it's a name that is very familiar to me as a long-term player of Forza Motorsport, and that was a very nice, polite way of saying he's old. But I'm old as well. So I've been playing Forza since Forza 2, 2007, guys. It's been 16 years of playing Forza, and here we are up against Bottatron 99. This is what it's led up to. This is what it's all about. This is what my destiny is, to overtake Bottatron 99 and now chase down Dantastic here at Grand Oak, one of the new tracks in the game. And this was a really good battle. It's a really good battle. I know Dantastic is a very fast player. I don't know if he's still part of the TPR team, but that's full of legends and icons of the Forza Motorsport scene, that team. And so we're going to have our work cut out here to try to hunt him down and to overtake him. As we cross the line, we've got a bit of slipstream, which is good, always useful, into turn 1. And I do like the final corner and the first corner here at Grand Oak. Very fast corners which require a lot of commitment, using the curb on the exit, and as it nicely slants, that curb gives you a bit of banking on the exit. Quite nice. So through the middle sector here, sort of long, lazy corners through the middle sector, this left, and definitely went in a bit hot there, so going to compromise his exit slightly. So we are slightly gaining as we pull away from Bottatron 99 And through here, just watch his exit. He actually carries a lot more speed. And I was trying to be a bit too clever to get a better run through this second part here, but it didn't quite work. And I say overall, Dantastic actually gained through that section of the circuit. And so I was relying slightly on slipstream. This is the end of lap number 3, going on to lap number 4. It's an 8-lap race. So the slipstream's certainly working as we head into turn 1. And on the exit here, just carrying a bit too much speed and going slightly beyond the track limit. And unfortunately, the stewards do not take too kindly to that. A 0.4 second penalty. And the track limit for the exit of turn 1 is actually halfway up the curb. It's quite interesting. You can go all 4 wheels off of the tarmac, but you have to be quite sure with exactly where your car placement is, as I wasn't on this occasion. So here, just taking a really bad line, trying to experiment with my speed through that corner, losing a handful of tenths. But by lap number 5, things were looking very close indeed, as you can see. It was a really good battle. Just really, it was a matter of pulling in a couple of tenths and then losing a couple of tenths. And here, he was definitely going to lose a couple of tenths, if not a second, by carrying a bit too much speed through that right-hander. And boom, I was through into the race lead. Now this was going to be an interesting proposition here because I had a 0.4 second penalty. And as we come through the final corner, the gap was actually around about that area. It was 0.5 seconds. And so if we finished like this, I would win the race by 1/10 of a second. And so this was my main challenge from here to the end, keeping behind and keeping behind by more than 0.4 seconds. And that was my main objective, tried to pull away slightly, which was not going to be easy, as we had a very good race to this point, and I might have been keeping up with him because of the slipstream. It's really hard to say exactly what it was, but we were very evenly matched, I would say. Going a little bit wide there. Was it going to be another penalty? Thankfully not on this occasion, so I'm not sure why that one wasn't, but the one earlier was. The game judged that I gained more on the first occasion. But this is the end of lap number 7. We're getting towards the final lap of the race, and he's only 0.2 seconds behind. You can see the proximity arrow there. And I decided to go defensive. We're going to have to really pull a rabbit out of the hat on this final lap to get this gap back up. As he goes around the outside, we're both going to head off the track. And I was hoping that would be more of a mistake from him, but he actually managed to recover it quite nicely and really not lose too much time. But here, turning into this right-hander, my car was, well, a little bit cumbersome. The front tyre is now beginning to die of death. The medium tyre being the one of choice here, but it seemed like he had a bit more grip than me at this occasion. Maybe he was driving a bit more smoothly than I was. You see here, it just really does not want to turn in at all. And so trying to pull out this 0.4 second of a gap might prove to be quite tricky here, because we've only got one corner left after this one. And the proximity arrow is very much there. In fact, he's making contact. We're making contact with each other. So the gap definitely isn't 0.4, it's basically 0.0. And as we come through the final corner, it was an amazing race. I didn't quite do enough to win it, but we crossed the line pretty much side by side. And boom, that was that. It's going to be another P2 in this one. So that was my first experience of Forza Motorsport multiplayer, and you know what, I really enjoyed it. I think it was really fun, a couple of really close races. Yes, this was kind of early release, and so we don't really know what it's going to be like when everyone gets their hands on it. It could get quite messy, and it could give us a quintessential Forza experience, but I really hope you enjoyed this one. Get yourself subscribed for more of the same, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.